Bibliometrics is the checking of a scholarly reference, often from periodical or journals. It's a sophisticated version of list checking. It's based on these assumptions. Items used are cited. Items cited are used. Scholarly conducted comprehensive literature search and examined all or nearly all of the relevant literature. Past use is a good predictor of future use. Bibliometric measures attempt to learn more about which items are most useful for scholarship. For example, we can learn about the use of foreign language items, older items, items published abroad, and the like. By searching at citation linkages, we can discover the relationship between research and discovery. Eugene Garfield and the Institute of Scientific Information have played a major role in making bibliometrics visible in the United States. Citation measures may be used to measure the impact of scholarly work or the utility of an expensive periodical. Objectives and standards may be internal or external. Internal objectives are created locally. Useful objectives are quite specific, such as users will be able to retrieve 70% of the information that they see immediately, 90% within 1 week, and 98% within 1 month, and allow for data collection and analysis. If created by the local institution or information agency, the example above would be an internal objective. However, if created by an external agency such as an accrediting agency, this would be an external objective. Standards represent particularly important or extensive objectives. Standards, regardless of whether they be qualitative or quantitative, are closely linked to the collection size, since larger collections are usually seen as better than smaller. Standards are often not well linked to the mission, goals, and objectives of the parent organization, unless those focus on size. Standards may be voluntary, in which case they are really more moral decisions than anything else. They may be required in cases that do make a difference, such as accreditation of an educational institution, and some medical ones require that supporting collections meet certain standards. Collection development managers in these institutions need to be the most familiar with the current set of standards so that they can prepare long before the arrival of the site visit team. Often it's necessary to educate parent institution officials on these standards and how local collections are likely to perform. Where collections are not likely to perform well, senior administrators need to be told, and the collection manager needs to be able to specify particular changes needed to ensure compliance. Standards are based on certain assumptions. Standards will be well received by the community in question. Standards are needed to be in place to ensure collections of utility. Standards are appropriate for a variety of situations. Standards developed need to be reasonably clear. Standards will be valid and reliable. The standards will be applied equitably and reliably. Use of standards will remove much of the uncertainty and political effort in certifying that a program collection is used and of a good quality. Quantity is some measure of quality. Each of these assumptions may be debated. and not all are easy to defend. Regardless if standards are important to the parent institution, they should be important to you. Traditionally, standards have been quantitative. For example, what percentage of the periodicals in Business Periodicals Index are locally held? What percentage of the books in the Harvard Business School core collection are held? A minimum community college collection must contain 30,000 items, while an excellent collection will contain at least 60,000 print items. Such standards are easy to check, but outsiders may wonder why 30,000 items rather than 29 or 31. Some administrators may consider the standard to be a maximum and lose interest in a collection when it reaches the target. Qualitative standards are designed to be more flexible, but may not be as reliable because they require interpretation. Most of those who apply a qualitative standard translate into some quantitative equivalent. Otherwise, what would one make of a collection that needed to be adequately support the curriculum or contain appropriate coverage of major topics, or that simply need to be of a sufficient size? Be careful and check with peers if faced with a qualitative standard so that you know what to expect. It's your responsibility to find out. Do not assume that someone will tell you all that you need to know. User activity measures. The key question here is what constitutes use. Traditionally, many collections have measured use by what goes out the door. This ignores the value of in-house uses. It's also possible that items may leave the collection and not be used. They may also leave the collection and be used by several individuals. Use, however, is of little importance when what is important is that an item was found useful. Few collection managers measure utility in a meaningful way. Typical user activities might include visiting the collection, selecting items from the collection, inspecting items from the collection, using items in the collection, removing items from the collection or agency, requesting items for other collections, receiving items from other collections, and using items from other collections. Use may be related to subject, format, demographics, all of these are associated with the user. The time, day, and even seasonal too, may also be of interest. Turnover, how many times an item leaves the shelf during a year, is another way to measure collection use. Some public libraries have a turnover target of 7 per year. Automated circulation systems or server transaction logs can identify use by class or individual item. They can also map some user characteristics to the item used. Expenditures may also be contrasted with the use to see if the classes receiving the most money are those which are the most heavily used. Performance measures. Performance measures the essential user activity, the ability to leave the collection with exactly what she wants. Performance may be measured in terms of the number of desired items retrieved, or how long it took to retrieve a certain number or percentage of items. The former is most often used in libraries. Performance measures begin with a list of desired items. The list may come from a user interview or may be generated by the information professional from bibliographies and the like. The list is then matched against holdings to discover the number of